Our nightmare truly kicked off that Sunday afternoon. Before Monday dawn broke, our crew wrapped up gathering every shred of physical and biological proof from the location. One haunting mystery has lingered for almost 2 months. Where is 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie? Things took a devastating pivot recently after authorities pulled a corpse out by a Phoenix waterway. As locals brace for formal verification, the lead sheriff finally spoke up about their probe. Here is the complete rundown regarding this grim find and what happens next. Vanished in the dark. The chilling tale of Nancy Guthrie. From the second she vanished on the morning of February 1st, a single doubt has haunted everyone. How did the 84-year-old mom of Today Show star Savannah Guthrie just vanish? This relentless query simply refused to fade. It expanded and strangled the entire investigation. Detectives were dragged down countless dead ends as weeks bled into months. Yet suddenly, right at this crucial breaking point, the tide totally turned. Unearthing something terrible by a Phoenix drainage ditch completely flipped the narrative. Nobody was truly ready for this dark twist. Cops remained tight-lipped, though the scarce facts they did drop sparked a massive, looming concern that dominates everything. Is that corpse by the watercourse actually Nancy Guthrie? Making sense of this nightmare requires rewinding to the evening it all kicked off. People last spotted her alive near Tucson inside her Catalina Foothills residence late Saturday, January 31st, 2026, right around 9:50. Her daughter Annie's husband, Tommaso Tioni, had just brought her back to the house. Nobody ever officially saw her after that silent parting. Come Sunday dawn, her total absence from a planned virtual mass instantly raised massive red flags. This completely shattered her normal routine. Brushing this off was impossible, and pure panic set in fast. Fellow congregants alerted her kin, prompting an urgent rush to her property. Barely past 11 in the morning, family members breached the doors to scour the place. They scoured the yards and screamed her name, desperately praying for a harmless explanation. Yet they found zero clues. Without a single footprint or any hint of departure, she was just totally gone. By high noon, things escalated way past a casual worry. Loved ones dialed 911, forcing the Puma County deputies to launch an official manhunt. Responding officers stepped inside, and the horrific scene completely derailed their standard protocol. All her crucial daily items sat untouched. Her mobile device and daily necessities proved she never voluntarily packed up. Thinking a disabled elder just wandered off made absolutely zero sense. The environment screamed otherwise. Her physical state directly contradicted the eerie quietness. Instantly, authorities treated this like a major criminal incident instead of a random vanishing. Massive hunts launched immediately. Cops from every government level flooded the zone, stacking massive manpower to sweep the terrain. Specialized tracking squads hit the dirt alongside K9 units, choppers, and high-tech flying cameras. Border Patrol agents even jumped into the fray, pushing the perimeter miles outwards. Yet all this extreme firepower yielded absolutely zero leads, zero eyewitnesses, zero footprints, just empty air. Then February 2nd hit, entirely altering the mood. Law enforcement publicly declared they were hunting a suspect now. It morphed into a dark criminal probe. Chief Chris Nanos leaked that clues snatched from her living room hinted at unspeakable violence. Detectives felt entirely certain a vicious assault happened indoors. Her quaint sanctuary transformed into a gruesome forensic zone overnight. The dark discoveries inside sparked intense new terrors. Officers called the messy interior utterly chilling, completely destroying any theory of a peaceful exit. Police flat out rejected the notion that this elderly woman walked out voluntarily. Clues screamed abduction, hinting an intruder snatched her forcefully during the dead of night. Solo travel got debunked in minutes, mostly due to her severe bodily handicaps. Walking alone to anywhere distant was impossible. She required help, meaning her vanish needed logic. Then, the undeniable physical proof surfaced. Forensics spotted crimson splatters soaking the front doorway. Lab technicians quickly matched the genetic markers directly to her. Blood stained the front porch in terrifying video clips, screaming foul play right from the start. Detectives silently suspected the worst, though they deliberately kept the grim specifics completely under wraps for now. Police refused to share just how gruesome the scene was or the exact volume of blood discovered. This haunting silence only fueled heavy public anxiety, especially as chilling new clues like abandoned personal belongings suddenly emerged. Someone ripped out the front doorbell camera, sparking serious alarm immediately. These shattered clues painted one terrifying picture: the victim hadn't just vanished, she was violently taken. Federal agents quickly jumped into the fray, flooding the frantic search with elite manpower and tactical support. Police aggressively labeled Guthrie a highly vulnerable target due to her advanced years. She barely walked and needed daily pills. Yet officers repeatedly swore her mind remained incredibly sharp without any mental flaws. This completely destroyed the hopeful theory that she simply got confused and wandered away. Law enforcement tirelessly scoured through digital footprints and security tapes. Detectives relentlessly canvassed local properties, aggressively double-checking every single blind spot and vigorously hunting down nearby camera feeds. Yet as endless days dragged into agonizing weeks, the horrifying reality stayed completely stagnant. Zero promising leads emerged, yielding absolutely no arrests or clear pathways. Right up until February 7th, her fate stayed completely unsolved. But a shocking Canal discovery changed absolutely everything. Suddenly, the entire nightmare loops right back to the terrifying core mystery that ignited this chaos. Who exactly snatched Nancy Guthrie under the cover of darkness on that fateful February 1st? 8 agonizing weeks, 40,000 desperate tips. Yet her disappearance remains stubbornly unsolved, hitting the dreaded 8-week mark. The massive manhunt actually exploded in sheer scope, rather than slowly fading into cold obscurity. State police, federal operatives, and local citizens united seamlessly, casting an impossibly wide net while feds dug deeper. Pima County sheriffs fiercely maintained their commanding grip over ground operations. Dedicated civilian trackers from Sonora eagerly joined the fray, injecting raw desperation into the already sprawling, non-stop manhunt. Over 40,000 leads flooded police hotlines, yet meticulously hunting down every single one yielded absolutely nothing concrete. Investigators lacked exact crime scenes and missed a viable perpetrator. The core mystery stayed stubbornly blank, paving the way for bizarre new twists that cranked public anxiety sky high. Just days after she vanished, incredibly sinister developments rapidly started coming to light. Extortion letters suddenly cropped up, demanding staggering multi-million-dollar payouts for her release. Meanwhile, forensics crews ruthlessly tore apart the victim's estate, analyzing every single blade of grass for clues. Her devastated kids broadcasted tearful digital pleas, practically begging the captors to send mom home. Then the chilling video dropped a masked intruder brutally disabling her Tucson home's security lens. That grim visual instantly transformed mild confusion into sheer terror, proving this crime was terrifyingly premeditated. Hitting day 3, the terrifying situation rapidly escalated even further. Major news networks like TMZ and local CNN branches unexpectedly caught wind of the first extortion threat. These digital demands explicitly ordered massive Bitcoin transfers tied to strict countdowns. One terrifying deadline loomed at 5 o'clock on Thursday, February 5th, while another struck on Monday, February 9th. Ruthless phrasing and sky-high stakes cranked up unbearable pressure right before February 6th threw a curveball. Reporters snagged another chilling extortion drop packed with highly classified details, strangely missing a deadline. Journalists immediately kicked the raw message and its digital IP footprint straight over to federal agents. This complex trail sparked massive tactical movement, swarming the victim's residence later that night. Glove technicians meticulously scoured the entire yard, dropping bright yellow markers and thoroughly sweeping rooftop shingles. Searchers probed thick bushes, scanning the dirt patches incredibly closely. Amidst this chaos, police silently hauled away the victim's car, securing yet another massive piece of the puzzle. Fast forward to February 7th, and the devastated family completely altered the tragic narrative after 7 agonizing days. Broadcasting a heartbreaking online clip, her 3 frantic kids spoke directly to the monsters hiding their mom, begging for mercy. They tearfully confirmed reading the twisted demands and promised total cooperation to bring her home alive. Time was bleeding out rapidly, turning an already frantic plea into a terrifying, deadly countdown. Cops swarmed Annie Guthrie's residence mere hours following the clip's public debut. It was shortly past 10:30 at night. Investigators departed the premises, clutching a sack, with a gloved officer indicating they had clearly secured critical forensic materials. By February 8th, search teams pivoted their attention straight toward the immediate exterior grounds. Detectives were spotted scrutinizing a waste disposal unit bordering the estate. They thrust a pole into the gloomy depths, aggressively stirring the muck under the glare of heavy flashlights. This meticulous sweep proved officials were leaving zero stones unturned, right as fresh extortion letter clues simultaneously leaked. Media sources claimed the kidnapper wanted $6 million, vowing to kill Guthrie if the February 9th cutoff was ignored, a time frame that ultimately expired by 5 o'clock in the evening. That 9th day of February brought absolutely zero payoffs, lacking any closure or proof that the extortionists achieved their goals. Savannah Guthrie broadcasted a fresh recording before time ran out. She directly begged citizens for assistance, making it explicitly known that her desperate relatives were out of options. Viewers were begged to submit tips regarding any bizarre anomalies or suspicious details linking back to the crime. February 10th finally brought highly tangible developments to the table. Federal agents published visual recordings snagged right off the Guthrie family security system. The clips revealed an armed, disguised figure messing with the porch lens during the exact dawn she vanished. Publishing those visuals completely transformed the manhunt's momentum, providing regular citizens with a recognizable target to actively hunt. The visuals went viral immediately. Savannah amplified the reach by plastering the suspects over her personal profiles, praying a random viewer could identify the culprit. Later that exact afternoon, cops pulled over and snagged a guy in Rio Rico, about 60 miles below Tucson by the Mexican crossing, creating temporary excitement that ultimately fizzled out. That specific suspect walked completely free before dawn broke the next day. Simultaneously, police raided a nearby residence, proving detectives still heavily suspected that specific neighborhood held vital answers. Secretly, federal agents acknowledged tracking several potential suspects without actually dropping any identities. Dropping those security snapshots sparked another massive engagement wave. Countless fresh clues poured through the hotlines, compounding an already staggering mountain of data. TMZ specifically reported getting a bizarre text from a person claiming they knew the abductor intimately. This anonymous tipster wanted one whole Bitcoin before spilling their secrets. While absolutely unproven, this bizarre extortion attempt poured more chaos onto an incredibly convoluted nightmare. Focus then snapped back toward Rio Rico as Carlos, the previously released suspect, gave a driveway press conference. He confidently stated, detectives admitted pulling him over solely because a nameless caller recognized the broadcasted camera grabs. This perfectly highlighted the rapid flow of gossip and the sheer impossibility of filtering facts from total fiction. Entering day 12, Puma County deputies blasted a wider plea, begging locals to hand over personal security recordings. They wanted every single frame featuring strange vehicles or suspicious wanderers, as every pixel counted. Every ticking moment became crucial evidence, pushing feds to drop a highly specific profile of the recorded intruder. They categorized the target as a man, standing roughly 5 feet 9 to 5 feet 10 inches tall, sporting an ordinary frame and hauling a dark 25-liter Ozark Trail rucksack. Along with those details, officials pushed the reward to $100,000. This massive cash bump proved exactly how desperate they were to crack this angle. Yet, even with a gigantic dragnet and mountains of clues, the mystery marched onwards while lacking any definitive solutions. Every fresh breakthrough dragged them nearer to the truth without ever fully unmasking the reality. One recovered handpiece sparked massive optimism before breeding further confusion, eventually leading Sunday, February 15th, to hinge entirely on forensics. Finally, an artifact discovered right by Nancy Guthrie's property definitively linked back to the recorded prowler. Detectives theorized a discarded mitt scavenged off the lawn perfectly matched what the disguised intruder wore when she was taken. A microscopic clue changed absolutely everything. That physical evidence finally gave detectives a solid anchor at the crime scene. It was the elusive link needed to turn wild theories into solid facts, a DNA-soaked glove. And it wasn't a solo find. Cops recovered about 16 hand coverings nearby, though search parties had accidentally tossed out almost all of those during their sweeps. Yet, This specific MIT immediately caught their eye during the laboratory screening. Meanwhile, her relatives remained in agonizing limbo, desperately clinging to optimism while battling utter terror. Savannah Guthrie took to Instagram with a fresh video plea, aiming her composed yet desperate words directly at the elusive culprit. She insisted redemption remained a viable option, begging the shadowy figure to just step out of the dark. Coming clean was still on the table, masking her family's fierce, unspoken vow to never stop hunting for the ultimate truth. Her emotional statement broadcasted a crystal-clear truth: they were keeping the faith alive and refusing to break. Next came a massive pivot, engineered to silence the vicious rumor mill spinning out of control. Pima County sheriffs dropped an official press release that completely exonerated Nancy's entire bloodline and in-laws from any criminal suspicion. Endless weeks. Internet sleuths had relentlessly targeted Nancy's inner circle, but the department's bold declaration shattered those toxic theories overnight. Sheriff Chris Nanos emphasized their absolute transparency since day one, praising their ongoing partnership with his exhausted detective squad. They were suffering victims, not obstructionists. And he slammed any opposite narratives as pure, unadulterated cruelty masquerading as fact. Shutting down that malicious gossip instantly redirected everybody's gaze right back to the cold, hard forensic clues. The spotlight quickly swung back to those mysterious gloves. Swabs from the debris located right outside Guthrie's place struck out completely in CODIS, the federal genetic vault, and it totally contradicted the confusing indoor samples. That dead-end result actually blew the whole mystery wide open once again. Striking out electronically meant this phantom killer had zero criminal history, forcing the squad to hunt for brand new trails. Nanos publicly admitted that the indoor forensics were still undergoing intense lab scrutiny, yielding absolutely zero pings across millions of federal database files at this current stage. This roadblock forced an immediate pivot. They embraced ancestral tracking, pushing the manhunt past the limits of standard police systems. Meanwhile, street-level tactics scattered in a dozen new directions as exhausted detectives began aggressively blitzing various local armories located all over the sprawling Tucson basin. A grainy video snippet revealed the violent perpetrator rocking a highly distinctive pistol rig and sidearm combination that immediately caught the attention of trained forensic experts. This custom gear could trigger a memory or hit on a sales receipt. Cops grilled dealers, flashing photos while begging for obscure clues to crack the mystery. Most clerks drew a blank. Others stayed tight-lipped. And one dealer flipped through a massive mugshot binder without finding a single positive facial recognition hit anywhere. Another merchant spent agonizing hours cross-referencing buyer logs against a suspect roster, desperately hunting for a matching purchase order buried within their dusty old files. Absolute silence. The path went ice-cold again. Yet the stubborn task force kept aggressively chasing down even the most bizarre tips without a second thought. Technicians were still frantically sorting through debris seized from local suspects who had already been formally questioned and subsequently cut loose. Every single scrap faced extreme scrutiny, and Nanos bluntly stated that letting those people walk meant they were undeniably innocent. The team only released them after verifying their airtight alibis with 100% rock-solid conviction and unwavering proof. Come Wednesday, February 18th, the sprawling manhunt had expanded even further outward. They ditched the narrow focus for a massive, hyper-calculated dragnet covering incredible ground. Uniformed officers hit every house, storefront, and municipal building they could find, hoarding an absolutely staggering mountain of digital security camera footage. Analysts faced thousands of tape hours, tortuously scrubbing through the grim footage frame by agonizing frame. They dissected passing seconds, praying to catch microscopic anomalies that live-action viewing entirely missed. It was a soul-crushing but utterly vital grind, driven by the absolute certainty that one overlooked pixel could crack the entire mystery wide open, right as the sprawling manhunt unexpectedly bled across international borders. Agencies spanning the United States and Mexico boundary went on high alert, not over verified crossings, but because the cartel's violent backyard was simply too uncomfortably close to ignore. Customs personnel received urgent tactical briefings. Mexican authorities were suddenly dragged into the ongoing loop. Tucson's dangerously tight proximity to the Badlands made a southern escape highly probable, especially after that chilling ring cam video went totally viral across the internet. A massive web of unverified whispers always outpaces cold, hard facts whenever someone suddenly vanishes into thin air. Such teamwork felt completely routine during this unpredictable hunt. Then, a shocking new twist unfolded. Mexico's volunteer search crew, Madres Buscadoras de Sonora, stepped in after Guthrie's relatives reached out to the renowned tracking organization. This intervention instantly injected a profound, fresh intensity into the rescue effort, fueled by agonizing first-hand knowledge rather than rigid protocols, fully comprehending the grim reality of ticking clocks and deafening silence. At this critical juncture, the straightforward trajectory of the police probe completely unraveled. The scope wildly ballooned, absorbing clues, new faces, and countless theories from all potential angles. Every single lead pushed them forward, yet miserably failed to resolve the core mystery haunting them since day one. A stranger on the porch ruined the established chronological facts. Scrutinizing the security clips from Nancy Guthrie's residence revealed a shocking, previously hidden anomaly. This subtle discovery rewrote the entire schedule, instantly sparking profoundly disturbing new doubts. The disguised intruder captured on the porch lens during the supposed abduction morning actually showed up more than a single time. An insider revealed this identical prowler lingered outside her entrance during a totally separate evening. Stills, distributed by federal agents on February 10th, actually originated from entirely distinct timestamps. Detectives slowly deduced from minor visual discrepancies that these frames spanned a minimum of two completely isolated events. One snapshot featured the culprit wearing a knapsack, while another showed him empty-handed. This minor detail hinted at heavily calculated preparations. Realizing the perpetrator likely stalked the residential premises well before the actual kidnapping, Knight shifted the prevailing theory from a sudden impulse toward cold, methodical tracking. Mainstream media outlets stated this suspicious character likely scoped out the property long before February 1st. A fact which, if proven true, cemented the terrifying reality of a highly orchestrated trap. Yet, competing factions completely rejected this developing theory. Local law enforcement vehemently disagreed, arguing the visual evidence lacked verified time codes, thus rendering any theories regarding multiple visits purely hypothetical rumors. Officials firmly insisted their probe must track concrete proof, avoiding reckless blind guesses, keeping strict priority on absolute facts over vague, unproven theories. Nevertheless, the chilling recordings proved absolutely impossible to dismiss. The tape captured a disguised, weapon-wielding intruder nearing the entryway, tampering with the security lens, exposing clear criminal malice without surrendering a single identifying physical feature. Police profiled the suspect as a medium-framed guy measuring between 5'9" and 5'10". Otherwise, he stayed entirely anonymous, a ghostly shadow on tape. Internally, detectives were actually shocked by how sloppily those visuals went public. Insiders claimed local field agents felt completely blindsided the exact moment federal leadership abruptly broadcasted the clips to the nation. Certain experts suspected the specific frame lacking any visible gear or firearms originated from an initial scouting mission, perhaps weeks before she vanished, validating terrible fears of extensive premeditated stalking. As this dark reality slowly sank in, the psychological toll of the terrifying ordeal grew significantly heavier. 24 days post-disappearance, her daughter finally confronted the devastating truth quietly simmering behind closed doors. Through a recorded message, she heartbreakingly confessed her mom was likely deceased. Delivering that statement proved agonizingly difficult, yet brutally clear. Despite everything, she insisted her loved ones kept fighting, stubbornly clinging to sheer optimism, while simultaneously bracing themselves for the tragic outcome they desperately tried to ignore. Despite the immense grief, recovering her remained their absolute top priority, coordinated with local cops. Relatives offered up to $1 million out of pocket for any solid tips, ensuring her safe return. This massive bounty signaled extreme desperation, proving the clock was running out, while blasting the cowardly witnesses who refused to talk. Simultaneously, they extended their compassion outward, pledging $500,000 to assist others. These funds helped families enduring similar limbo, expanding the impact beyond their personal hunt. The total bounty reached $1.2 million, merging their private cash with federal funds. Despite this massive incentive, The public momentum of the manhunt visibly started losing steam. Federal agents relocated their primary operations hub from Tucson directly into Phoenix. This deliberate transition maintained operational staffing, while drastically altering the overall strategic logistics of the manhunt. Ground investigations persistently marched forward, yet official public press briefings quickly became noticeably scarce. Come February 27th, Savannah appeared once again, desperately pleading for new clues. Across several social media updates, she aggressively promoted the lucrative cash prize. To utterly shatter the wall of silence, detectives pushed a completely anonymous, cold hard cash bounty right out of the gate. Their desperate plea never wavered or lost its edge. And then Savannah finally traveled back to Tucson on March 2nd. Standing outside that house for the very first time since her mom vanished, she was accompanied by her sister Annie alongside Tommaso Cione. The group laid yellow blossoms next to an expanding memorial bordering the yard, sharing a silent pause that deeply echoed both love and agonizing loss. She eventually posted about this poignant experience to thank everyone rallying behind her loved ones. From close friends to random onlookers, everyone holding their breath. With each passing sunrise, promising clues slowly started to evaporate. By March 4th, investigators matched the DNA on those suspicious dark gloves to a nearby food service employee, completely ruling them out as a suspect. That highly anticipated breakthrough simply vanished into thin air, turning into yet another frustrating dead end. The very next morning, on March 5th, Savannah Guthrie temporarily retreated into her familiar professional world. She walked right back into 30 Rockefeller Plaza to reconnect with her Today Show family, sparking a tearful reunion packed with tight hugs and whispered comforts. This brief visit was her initial step back since the tragic vanishing. Though her heart was clearly still miles away, her entire soul was still anchored exactly where it started, pouring every ounce of energy into supporting her relatives and hunting for Nancy. Throughout this entire nightmare, a single terrifying fact refused to shift. Detectives were absolutely convinced Nancy Guthrie was forcibly snatched from her residence. Yet they desperately lacked a solid motive or any cohesive working theory. Detectives absolutely refused to dismiss the terrifying idea that a group of attackers orchestrated this nightmare. This kept the massive manhunt entirely wide open and relentlessly hunting for that one crucial puzzle piece to tie it all together. Then suddenly, a shocking revelation completely shattered the entire mood of the manhunt. Around March 6th, the massive hunt for Nancy Guthrie violently shifted gears, veering way off the path everyone was desperately praying for. Rather than providing solid answers, an eerie find sparked a terrifying new anxiety, rapidly dragging the entire ordeal into incredibly dark and uncharted waters. During that chaotic morning, Phoenix law enforcement rushed out to investigate a distressed caller near a local waterway. Dispatch initially reported a motionless female resting on the riverbank, but the moment responding deputies secured the perimeter, things escalated into pure chaos. Medics officially declared the Jane Doe deceased right there in the dirt. Almost instantly, the shockwaves of this grim find rippled way past the Phoenix city limits, while the geographical gap sparked massive paranoia. That specific spot was situated roughly 100 miles outside of Tucson, exactly where Nancy Guthrie seemingly evaporated a few weeks prior. Blending that terrifying distance with the highly suspicious timeline forced everyone to stare right down the barrel of a horrifying nightmare they desperately wanted to avoid. The moment fresh details leaked out, wild public rumors chased right after them, trying to sketch a direct bridge, no matter how fragile. Folks connected the two tragedies, sparking an absolute frenzy across the internet that instantly linked this corpse to Guthrie's massive manhunt. People weren't basing this on hard police facts, but rather the hauntingly close timeline and sheer geographic closeness. Plus, the agonizing lack of truth fueled the fire. So, dropping a fresh corpse into a weeks-long mystery shoved a totally suffocating dread onto everyone's shoulders. Were these two horrific nightmares actually tangled together? Before that terrifying rumor could fully explode, detectives scrambled to crush it, prompting the lead Puma County task force handling Nancy's file to step up. They went on the record declaring zero evidence existed to suggest the watery Phoenix grave had absolutely anything to do with their missing person. Detectives lacked any solid crossover clues, physical proof, or even a tiny hint that these two isolated tragedies crossed paths at all. Law enforcement held a firm line. Yet their strict denials barely made a dent in the suffocating public panic, even without a shiny badge confirming it. That bizarre timeline and creepy geographic closeness kept gnawing at everyone's sanity, since Nancy's baffling vanishing act was still completely unsolved. Every single fresh clue, especially uncovering a dead woman, amplified the terror. That grim reality packed a brutal punch nobody could just ignore, leaving everyone paralyzed for 2 brutal days until Phoenix cops finally named the victim on March 8th. The deceased was 42-year-old Alex Fleming, immediately killing the wild internet theories and permanently tearing the 2 entirely separate mysteries apart. That terrifying Canal corpse that initially merged both stories simply vanished from Nancy's investigative radar completely. A gruesome find that initially looked like a tragic conclusion twisted into a completely different kind of heartbreak. It served as a brutal wake-up call showing how fast one frantic manhunt can accidentally crash into a totally unrelated tragedy. They separated as quickly as they collided, instantly slamming the Nancy Guthrie operation right back to its frustrating starting line from before March 6th. Wide open, utterly clueless, and haunted by that exact same chilling mystery. Do you honestly believe detectives will ever track down Nancy Guthrie? Drop your wildest theories down in the comments section below, and make sure you smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. You definitely don't want to miss the crazy update I've linked right there on your screen. So click it now. This story reminds us that safety is never something to postpone, especially for older loved ones who live alone. A quiet home can hide serious vulnerability, and small precautions can make a life-changing difference. Checking in regularly, maintaining working security devices, sharing trusted emergency contacts, and noticing unusual activity in the neighborhood are not acts of fear. They are acts of love. It also teaches us the value of community awareness. In moments of crisis, one missed message, one ignored concern, or one suspicious detail left unreported can matter more than we realize. Real protection does not begin when a tragedy becomes headline news. It begins much earlier, in everyday attention, compassion, and responsibility. At the same time, this case is a powerful reminder to reject careless rumors. When families are already carrying unbearable pain, public speculation can deepen that suffering. Empathy matters. Truth matters. Patience matters. The deeper lesson is simple but urgent: cherish your family while you can. Stay alert without becoming cruel, and never assume that someone else will step in. Sometimes the most meaningful form of love is being present, being observant, and taking action before it is too late.